Thanks to those joining us live and to those that will be joining us on the archive. I'm being joined again by Christine and by Calix. Special edition of Box Topics. Hashtag HCP, everybody. Let's go ahead and get this one started. It's going to be, the theme is the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to start with the good. All right, there's a lot of good, but mainly it's the big card. I think it's a good fight. Maybe not a great fight, but it's a good fight. Unfortunately, on pay-per-view, but nonetheless, it is Dimitri Andrade against David Benavidez. All right, they're gonna get it on. They're gonna fight, and I can't wait to see who wins that one. I do believe David will win. I like the matchup though. And I think it's a good fight, and we'll see what y'all think. Christine, what do you think about this?
Hopefully, you said it's going to be a good one. I hope it's a good one. I mean, it's on pay-per-view, which I'm kind of but I'm gonna buy it. But I hope it's a good one. I mean, I hope it's not a one person on their bike and the other person trying to figure out how they're going to cut the ring. I'm hoping that they both bring it. They both have something to prove. And I hope it's good. I think that usually I'm not a big fan of Boo Boo because he doesn't quite, get me going, the boxing juice. But hopefully he knows that he needs to perform this fight because I'm not sure that he'll get another chance anytime soon after this. And I know Benavidez is going to come out, guns a-blazing. So I'm very curious to see how this dance goes.
Calix, you have the same exact cap that I have on with them now. It's the same one. It's like you got the memo or something. You know what I mean? But yeah. So what's up, Calix? At this fight, what makes this a good fight in your opinion?
I think what makes this a good matchup is we're finally getting movement with Benavidez's career, right? Because that's what we've been asking for, right? Yeah. It's we all see it. Like, he's got talent, right? We all see that, but we want to see the talent realized from a lot of these fighters that have been, I think, managed out of tough fights in the past. So I think we're starting to get that with Benavidez here. This is, if he wins, if he beats Plant and Andrade in the same year, that's a good year, right? It's a good year. Sure. So this is what we've been asking for. And D-Style, we talked about this. Like, we're already there for Canelo versus Benavidez. We don't need to see more. But this is more intrigue. If he wins this fight, it's more intrigue for a Canelo type of fight. Hopefully May 2024. Although I think I kind of get some suspicions it's going to be September 2024. But it's also the stylistic matchup that Christine was talking about, right? It's we know Boo Boo Andrade could be a negative type of fighter, right? A guy who will be on his back foot, may get cagey in this fight. Not may, I think he will get cagey in this fight at times if Benavidez can go downhill as the fight goes on. So we'll see. But I do like the matchup stylistically too. And I want to see if Benavidez can get to him early and make him very uncomfortable. Or does Andrade have success? That's the more intriguing part because Benavidez in his step-up fight, he didn't stop Caleb Plant, right? He didn't get the stoppage. So does he get the stoppage here? And then if he doesn't in back-to-back fights, then we start to raise those questions like, is he the Mexican monster that everybody's been saying, right? Yeah. His output came down significantly against Caleb Plant. Will it be down again in this fight? And is he that Mexican monster? Those are the questions we're going to have.
For sure. We're going to wonder if he can actually deal with boxers, I think that's a great point for sure. But I think that if he catches Boo Boo slipping even in the slightest, Boo Boo's going to be thinking about, getting on that bike for the rest of the night.
And these are the questions we have for fighters that, Christine, I'm sure you see these guys in the gym that you start to raise questions. Maybe you see some stuff in the gym and maybe their handlers are careful with them throughout their career, right? So maybe there's a reason some of these guys haven't been in with tough competition until 8 to 9 years in.
Yeah.
So that's the questions we're going to start to get answered for Benavidez here is, have they been hiding something from us? You know, have they been? I mean, he did get the stoppage against Caleb Plant. Maybe he doesn't get the stoppage here, but the same thing, the crazy thing is the same thing could be said about Boo Boo Andre.
For sure.
Right.
And the thing is, people don't know like the locker room talk or the corner talk. Like we know whoever we're handling, whoever we're coaching, we know their weaknesses, we know their strengths. So there's certain people, yes, that you try to stay away from or you try to avoid certain situations. But this far in the game, you can no longer avoid certain boxers because people start to ask questions like you're saying. And it's like, okay, you gotta show up or shut up. So now is the time for a lot of these guys to show us what they're really made of, and we're going to see what Benavidez is made of, and we're going to see what Boo Boo's made of, with this matchup. I'm with it.
Another wild card here, fella, is the weight. How long can a guy that big stay at that weight? How long before it starts to show, like with an Errol Spence, right? How long before it starts to show and you go down? We saw Regis Prograis in the bathtub. He posted it on Twitter and how, he looks like a skeleton. He looks like, literally, it looked like he was about to die at points there.
Yeah.
So how long can you go to the well that many times before that's too much? Because David Benavidez in the training camp videos I've seen looks like a cruiserweight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's a big dude. He is, and also if the longer you go without fighting and making that weight, your body adjusts to whatever you're walking around at, and it gets harder and harder, and then you're getting older. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how long he's going to be able to maintain this for sure. I hope he has some good people on his in his team, good nutritionists.
What I like about the matchup is David Benavidez, to his credit, is doing what I've been asking, at least me, right? And many of us have been asking guys that are looking for that big Canelo fight to do, right? Don't just wait and have your hands on your lap, sitting down, waiting for Canelo to do everything and wait for Canelo to handpick you to fight him.
Yeah.
Go and get it. Go. Don't depend on Canelo to make a legacy, right? Finally, we got the Caleb Plant fight after years of not getting it, and he got that win. It was a big win for him. I thought he would stop Plant, but nonetheless, it was still a good win for him. And then, of course, now he's going to fight Andrade, a guy who's been calling out Canelo. And the big moment for him is this. If he stops the guy or beats him badly, right, that was at the press conference calling out Canelo, right, that a lot of people have been saying Canelo's avoiding Andrade. He wants no piece of Andrade. He's running for the hills. He doesn't want anything to do with him, right? Okay, but if David Benavidez beats that guy, right, I honestly think, even though I already think it's the fight at 168, to be quite frank, but this is going to really solidify it. Like it's got to happen. Like Canelo needs to fight this dude.
Yeah.
Like it's the fight to make it 168 without a shadow of a doubt. If it gets a dominating victory against Andrade, and it's going to make the fight bigger in the process. I just personally wish it wasn't on pay-per-view because I would rather have been on regular Showtime so more eyeballs can see it. Because if more people see it, you're going to get maybe some of that money you're looking to make off of Benavidez off the back end, because more people will see that performance, and then that will lead to a big Canelo fight down the line in May, right? Or maybe September. Either one works for me, and I think that's a big mega fight. And if they do it in September, by the way, I don't care if the UFC has a Sphere. Benavidez Canelo is going to be the place to be at the T-Mobile, more than likely. So it just is what it is. But hopefully the fight happens. I think the division needs it. I think boxing needs it. I think it's a big fight. And I know you want the Crawford fight, Christine, but maybe Crawford can wait a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I mean, whatever. Now, later, he's going to win regardless.
But
what if Andrade wins? Is Canelo versus...
It's boxing, right? I mean, he could win on the scorecard. I don't think that he could hurt Benavidez, but could he outbox him? But then again, are the judges going to see it that way? Would they give it to him? But if he did, what if he did? That would be very interesting going forward. That would be very interesting.
Twofold. One, what if he wins? That's a monkey wrench, and I gotta say the same thing. Like, If Andrade beats Benavidez, I've been telling Andrade fight somebody with a pulse, dude. Well, I think it's fair to say David Benavidez has a pulse. So
Yeah.
then a Canelo fight makes more sense now, right? If he gets that win. I
Yeah,
personally feel that way.
for sure.
But I
Yeah,
think there's a rematch clause. Isn't there a rematch clause?
I don't know about that, but that would make sense, right? Rematch. They would probably do a rematch and make
I
it.
would think-
I heard that. I'm pretty
I
sure
would
it's a rematch, a one-way rematch clause. Only Benavidez loses it's a rematch.
Yeah,
And
I would definitely see that. Yeah, but yeah,
that's the intrigue behind it. Is I think we all know what Benavidez we're going to get, right? He's going to try to go downhill. He's going to try to impose his size and
yes,
power. But what? How does Andre deal with that? Because he hasn't. We talk about Benavidez stepping up the past two fights, but the same could be said about Andre. So he hasn't seen anything close to what he's going to see on Saturday.
no,
So does he stink it out? That's what I'm hoping does not happen. I hope he doesn't stink it out. I hope it becomes a Benavidez type of fight, and then we get surprised and we say, sort of like we were surprised with Kansei Sao the other night. Is I didn't see that dog in him. I didn't see that dog in Boo Boo Andre. Where did that come from? I
Right.
hope that's the type of
Right.
fight we get.
Yeah, I hope that the next conversation we have after the fight is that, oh, he does have some dog in him. He shocked me. He surprised me. Everything I said about him before, I take it back. I that would be great. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, because by the way, even in a loss, if Andre loses and still
Right.
shows some excitement about himself, then he has some matchups, possible
Yeah.
matchups, like a Caleb Plant.
Absolutely.
You got possible matchups up at 168, and people want to see you now.
Absolutely.
The thing with Andrade is, look, he needs to deliver, and that doesn't just mean win. Like, he needs to come out and show people, yo, I'm here to fight.
Absolutely.
If he fights a negative fight and loses, I mean, that he's done. Like, no one's ever going to pay to watch him fight. Like,
Yeah, he doesn't need to stay in the pocket or actually bang, for more than a few seconds for David, but he needs to come back with something. He needs to be able to take a punch and give two back. He needs to be able to do a little something. We need to see something from him, not just avoiding shots, pawing, avoiding shots, move. We need to see a little something from him. I want to see a little bit of heart, a little bit of dog.
Yeah.
And I do want to say the card itself is a really good card. You got Supreme Maltiaz against Ergashev. I think that's a great fight. Hector Luis Garcia against Lamont Roach. Pretty decent fight as well.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited about that one.
I don't know about Jamal Charlo against Jose Benavidez Jr., but that's another fight we got. You excited for that one, Christine?
I mean, sure, why not?
At least he's getting back in the ring, right? That's the only silver lining I got.
Yeah, let's see how it goes,
I hope Jose makes that interesting. I hope he makes it
I
interesting.
hope so too. I really do.
Oh man, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
You know, but Jose sounds apart. You know what I mean? But
I mean,
we know his situation though. The dude got shot in the leg.
a lot of guys sound apart, but then they get there and
Well, one more thing about Jamal. He has been inactive for so long. Like I can't help but wonder, like the cobwebs, the rust. It's gonna be there. Like it has to be. Like he didn't look so good in last fight, and that fight because Montiel was like, I think it's one. I think it's fought like once, like in 3.5 years. That's it.
And even if he, is in top, condition because he's been working his ass off,
Has he?
what about the mental part of it all? It's like, didn't he just post something, back in the gym like 2 weeks ago or something? And I'm like, bro, you gotta fight.
Serious?
Yeah. I saw something. I was like, wait, what? You just back what? So I don't know.
Jose just fought 3 months ago. So if I'm that team, I just tell him to jump on Maul early and
immediately
see what's what. See what's
Absolutely. Absolutely. Agree.
Now, just to kind of stay with the good. I do think it's good. Just to throw this one out there. There was a news that Usyk Fury is official. It's going to happen.
That's good.
If everything goes according to plan, and I think even though I think it's lost luster thanks to Fury, right?
Hey,
And you know what? And
still with
Usyk
it.
too. Like Usyk's going down against Dubois like that. They both kind of did their part to kind of. They should have just fought each other like earlier in the year, to be quite frank. But nonetheless, we are where we are. Really quick, let me give a shout out to Fat Belly. Canelo versus Benavidez
Yes,
will be a Mexican showdown. Much appreciated. We
Thank you so much.
appreciate the support. Ding ding. I don't have to the bell. Sorry.
We don't have the
that'll be-
bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding ding ding. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. And just to give a shout out to a Data Ender. How's it going? Shout out to you, Lisa Bales, always supporting. All right,
Yes.
like always, we appreciate it. MAW over there from Australia.
Yes,
Shout out to
it.
you. That was my fake ass Australian accent. It didn't hit, but
That was
it's
terrible.
Okay. Jesus, Jesus, Sam, how's it going? Don Chile in the building. Shout out to you and Al the Pal on there as well. If you haven't said hi in the chat, just go ahead and say hi. It's all right. You know what I mean? And hit that like button, by the way, if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
And Lisa Bale says, anytime, guys. Anytime.
Yes,
right?
we love y'all.
Christine, it looks like it's gonna happen. I thought they were probably gonna do the Ngannou rematch, but they're gonna go straight to the
Oh,
Usyk
did
fight.
you?
I did.
Yeah, really? Okay. I'm excited about it. You know me, I'm a huge Fury fan. I think he's awesome. He's amazing. He's one of the top heavyweights and on my list of all time. I love his antics. I love his little tricks in the ring, and I mean, I think he's a badass. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. But I love Usyk too. As I've said before, I think he is like right there, second to Fury.
For sure.
So I'm curious to see how it's gonna go, but I have to go with my guy Fury.
Calix, the fight's been announced. They've done the press conference. What are your thoughts?
I'm not as excited about it as I was a year ago, but they're giving us what we've been asking for a while now, and that's an undisputed champion. So I'm gonna buy it. Obviously, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna buy it. And undisputed heavyweight. What's that?
You're gonna be there?
No, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy the pay-per-view.
He's gonna be there
on
the tele.
Yeah, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia. No, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna pass on that one. No, not this time. But yeah, I'll buy the pay-per-view, obviously. And my concern is Fury will stink the fight out, but I hope Usyk can speed him up and we can have their hands free and see how that fight plays out. And Fury will go to the body. He's going to test Usyk to the body. But that's why we don't like marination, right? Is the Ngannou fight sort of took some luster off of Fury, but also the Dubois fight took some luster off of Usyk. That wasn't Usyk's best performance, right? And there was some controversy there. So they're both limping to the finish line here, but at least we're getting it. And I obviously lean Fury. I just think he's one of those guys that figures it out. He figures out a way to get it. He doesn't always look good in between the big fights, but I think he's gonna figure it out.
He shows up for the big fights.
But Usyk,
you know who else?
Usyk's Usyk though. Usyk's Usyk.
But you know what? Like another guy that figures it out and doesn't know how to lose is Usyk. That's another guy that figures it out.
Yeah, you're right. That's why.
So like.
A great matchup.
I don't think Fury's seen footwork like that in a long time. I'm just gonna put it that way.
You think Usyk's gonna be able to? You think he's gonna be? You think he's gonna be able to find his range in there?
I think
consistently.
So. I am leaning heavily.
Seen a body like Fury's because he will use his body.
Body.
Yeah,
he's got about that. I know he's got the best body. He's got that is a championship body, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like there's something like I remember. I had Russ Abner on the roundtable like a year and a half ago, and the one thing he said then, like this is when Usyk first moved up. You know what I mean? He said everyone keeps talking about Usyk like he's this little dude, he's weak, and he said this guy is almost 6'4". He's a strong man. He's going to be at 225. He told us then. He's going to be at 225, 230. He's going to be solid. Like Usyk is not what people think he is. Like this is he's handling heavyweights in sparring. Like
I believe it.
Usyk's not this weakling that people think. Did you see
I
him
never
lift?
thought that.
Did you see him when he picked up 300-pound Fury like nothing? Like when he gave him that big bear hug,
Yeah.
lifted him in the air like nothing.
They've been sizing each other up when
That's what
they
it
see each
is.
other. They do those handshakes where they're kind of like pulling each other,
Yeah.
and then Usyk lifted him up. So Usyk is not bothered by any of the antics at all. The best man's gonna win. It's that simple.
The Fury that has a shot against Usyk is the one that was in the 240s when he fought Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, he
That's
needs
the one that has a
like
shot.
He
He
ain't
ain't gonna
getting
go down
down.
240.
He ain't getting down there. No,
No,
he
he's
ain't
not.
getting
not
down
the
there.
240.
Good luck
But
with
he's
that.
gonna be lighter, a little bit lighter.
But I'll tell you what, man, a dude 265, 270, that's just a tough
Yeah.
out. But Ngannou figured it out. So
I just think he was in grotesque. He overlooked him. He was grotesque shape.
Yeah, I agree.
He overlooked him.
Well, you
Yeah.
both agree that if he shows up in that horrible shape against Usyk, he's done.
But he won't. He won't.
How do you
He
know?
shows up for the big
won't.
fights. He does. Like
He'll be ready.
But what
He'll
if
be
he's
ready.
overlooking? I feel like he's overlooking Usyk.
I don't think so.
no way.
I don't
No
think
way.
so.
He's
Just
not
call him a
stupid.
sausage. You sausage.
I think he knows what this means right here,
Call him a
especially
middleweight.
if he truly is a great fighter. The great ones don't have back-to-back performances like that. They don't.
Right.
So he's had performances like that in the past. Not this bad, not as bad as Ngannou, but he's had some like that, and he bounces back. So I'm saying he figures it out. But I want to see if Usyk can find his timing, find his range in there. If so, we've got ourselves a fight.
For sure.
Sounds good.
And Fury did overlook Ngannou. I know he did. Like he thought, oh, this MMA guy, I'm just gonna walk through him. He's not gonna be nothing. He didn't expect what he got, but you know what? He still found a way. And I think everybody deserves an in between fight. It's okay. He's the king. He can do that.
Shout out to Nando Yamas now in the building. TBH. Shout out to Brian. How's it going, brother? Hope everything's good. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. All right. Let's get to 30 ASAP. Let's get to 30 likes. I believe in you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Christine and Calix believe in you guys, but I do. You know what I mean?
I definitely believe.
You know what I mean? But
I'm iffy on it.
let's get to the bad, but badass. Okay.
Ooh.
Like, what a bad. Like, Emmanuel Navarrete. I'm a fan for life. Win, lose, or draw.
For sure.
I'm a fan for life. And Consecao, I mean, how could you not respect that guy? I just want to remind everybody. I was watching that 11th round, like Navarrete was beating him up in the 11th.
Yes.
And he was staggering back to the corner, and I actually thought, okay, this corner should not let him back out.
I did too.
I was like, don't let him back out. He don't look good. Like, this ain't worth it. Like, you know what I mean?
I said.
And they let him back out. I'm yelling I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And he goes out there and he wins a 12 on all three judges' scorecards.
Yeah.
He won it convincingly.
Yeah, like he was throwing like all those punches had nothing behind him, by the way, but he was landing.
Yeah.
That was all hard. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And he out Navarrete in a 12. Like for whatever reason he did, and he went from unanimous decision loss, but close, to majority draw because of what he did in that 12th round. Right? And that was a badass fight.
Yeah, rightfully so. It should have been that way. And but you can see watching the fight, Consecao, his legs were starting to go out way before that. That back leg was shaking and he looked like he was gonna fall over at any time. But that heart, that grit, that whatever he had to dig, deep in find, he did it. I was good with the draw. I thought it was it was a good call. And I had respect for both of them. That was a badass fight, like you said. It was. That's what we wanted to see.
And Christine, a lot of the Olympic boxers, especially when they stayed amateur so long and then they turn pro, there's always question about their grit and about like how are they going to handle a 12-round fight. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
but he goes out there, has less experience in the pros, and closes the 12th round.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's something, right? I mean, I was impressed by what it did.
He had to be in tip-top shape, because to be able to take those shots, body shots, head shots, those crazy shots, that we know Navarette that throws from everywhere, anywhere. You have to be in top condition, in shape. And he was, or he couldn't have lasted as long as he did.
Calix, you agree? Badass?
Yes. Yes. And I wish this was the main event. I wish it ended up being the main event, because what a high that was. And I got to echo what Christine said. I was fine with the draw. I had Navarette winning 114, 112 on my card. We're only one round off. The majority draw, I was fine with it. I was actually surprised that Conceição got the majority draw, but I think he deserved it, well deserved. And this is why we watch sports, right? And why we watch boxing in particular. And this is what makes boxers the greatest athletes, is what happened in the 11th round is it could be career ending. That's damaging. I said it.
Yes.
I tweeted it out at the time. I was like, man, he took a lot of damage in that round. I don't see. And I thought after the 4th round, he was going to be done. I thought it's only a matter of time. Navarette's in his mode now. You know how he gets, right? It's not surprising at all to see him give up the first 3 rounds. That's not surprising. But once he gets his thing going, then it's his game, right? And we expect that in the middle rounds. But he wins the 4th round convincingly, beats Conceição up, and then in the 5th round, Conceição comes back and convincingly wins that round. And then he repeats it in the 11th and 12th. I'm watching this in the 12th round. I was like, good Lord, man, this is what I show up for, because when you see athletes, particularly boxers who are putting literally their lives on the line, when you see them go to a place that you're like, how is he doing that? How is he doing that? D-Style, you said it. He out Navarette. He became Navarette. He fed off of his energy, and he beat him at his own game in that 12th round. And throughout some of the spots in this fight, he became better than Navarette at what Navarette does. But to give Navarette credit is the things he does well, I feel, are undervalued. I do feel like he's a better defensive fighter than people give him credit for. You're actually putting yourself more at risk, obviously, when you throw a lot of punches like he does. And I don't understand how he gets power behind some of these shots he's throwing. I don't understand how you throw an uppercut from the outside and it generates that type of power.
6 feet away.
It seems like he's just naturally heavy-handed. Like, there's some guys, like I would just say in my career, for years, the skinny little narrow guys like Navarette hit the hardest. Like, I'm dead serious, and I don't know why, the heavy bones or what, but they just have power that comes from I don't know where.
It's the torque. It's the I think about it like if you ever try to get unwind a bolt, like it's those long wrenches that really get the job done. I think that's what it is,
it's
man.
Crazy. It's like it stings you to your toes,
When he's crossing his feet, he's he's doing everything you're not supposed to do, and then he's generating power behind it. And you see how guys react to it, because on TV it doesn't look like, you can't tell how powerful, but you see dudes react to it. Like I was watching Valdez react to it, even when he got going against Liam Wilson. But I do want to say this about Navarette too, is the reason I'm a fan. I become a fan. I actually think he's underrated as far as how talented he is too. Is he's fighting 3 times per year. Fighters at that level don't do that anymore. He's fighting 3 different styles. They're not afraid to put him in there with a guy like Conceição, who is a tough out. And I was just pleasantly surprised that it became that type of fight, though, because D-Style and I talked about it last week. Is we expected Conceição, once he started to feel this punishment, that he would become so negative and clinchy, right, and yuck up the fight. And instead what he did was, I think they watched possibly film on the Liam Wilson fight, and he started to load up on those shots as Navarette was coming in.
I have a theory, because I kept hearing people say, oh, Conceição, he has a blueprint to beat Navarette. Like I'm not saying he didn't, but because a lot of people actually felt he won. But here's what I'll say: a lot of people have forgotten the Ruben Villa fight. Like they just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Right. In that fight, Ruben Villa won a lot of quiet rounds. Like we don't remember those rounds because nothing dramatic happened, but Ruben Villa boxed Navarrete. And very similarly, Navarrete got back in that fight every time he would knock down Ruben Villa. And Ruben Villa like got knocked down very early in that fight. He had to like make up for that. Then when he was coming back, like he was winning a round and got knocked down again. Right. And I had it very close. I had it 6 rounds apiece, with the 2 knockdowns of Navarrete making a difference in that fight. And everyone just kind of forgot about that fight. But I thought Ruben Villa did lay like a blueprint. I saw Hoyt try to emulate it. Hoyt found some success as well, right? And Liam Wilson is like a different animal. Liam Wilson could hit hard, and he's bigger than Navarrete, right? But I did see Conceição kind of, he's like, yo, I'm not a small guy. I'm going to hold my own here. Like, I'm good. Right. And I thought Conceição was going to bust out with some Brazilian jiu-jitsu and hold on that, but he didn't. Wow. Like he boxed, so, and he fought. And I think he learned from the Valdez fight. In the Valdez fight, he was up early on most people's scorecards and he lost people with how negative he became in the second half of that fight. I actually scored it for Conceição, the fight with Valdez, but it was really, really close. And it shouldn't have been that close. I think he could have pressed on the gas more in that fight, and he didn't. And I think he's been kicking himself since then. And in this fight, he pressed on the gas, and he got a drop because of it.
I'll say one thing about Brazilians, too. I mean, a lot of them come from very rough neighborhoods. I mean, our projects don't compare to the things that they endure and live in. And we've fought many Brazilians, Team USA. And I will say, in Chile at the Olympic qualifiers, I believe they qualified 7 or 8, and they also won gold medals. These guys and gals, they come with something deep within. They want to make it out of whatever situation that they're in. Not that nobody else does, but I just see the way Conceição just came back, and it didn't matter if he was knocked down or down in the cards or whatever. They just find a way to dig deep and come forward. It's just, I see it. It's a pattern. It is.
He literally looked to me like, I'm gonna go out of my shield if I have to in that 12.
Yes.
And since he was willing to do that, that's the reason he won that round.
Yes.
And another thing to add to that is it's the reason why we all want to see him fight again. Give him a fourth shot at the title. He deserves it. Give him a rematch. He deserved it. He earned that in the 12th round for sure. And that's what I'm saying. Even with the draw, or let's say he loses 114 to 112, right? Let's pretend he loses 114, 112. Guess what? His stock still rises. All three of us still want to see him fight again. And that's what I'm saying about Boo Boo Andrade on Saturday is I want to see that type of performance for him. I want to see, nobody outside of hardcore boxing fans know who Boo Boo Andrade is. So let's change that. Let's put on a performance, an entertaining performance, a positive performance to where even if you lose, we still want to see you. Let's see what you do against Caleb Plant. Let's see that. Or Amal Charlo if he moves up,
Right.
Even in a loss or draw, if you fight how Conceição fought a couple of nights ago, we still want to see you again.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know what Conceição also did? Like, do you remember when they were trying to manufacture Barrera Morales with Navarrete and Valdez, which I thought that was a good fight too, by the way, but it wasn't this good, right? And the reason it wasn't this good is because Conceição did what many thought Valdez was going to do, right? But Valdez wasn't quite comfortable going at Navarrete the way Conceição did. Like Conceição was like a man in a mission. Like, I can't afford to lose this shit. Like, I'm here to win. Like,
he was a little more awkward too, right? So it was tougher to time. He was a little more awkward than Valdez was. So
he channeled in his Navarrete spirit. He just like, okay, Navarrete, we're gonna do this awkward shit. Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? I'm gonna out awkward you. and I think Navarrete had issues with it. But look, I want to see a rematch, another fight. I've been proposing this. I think it's a great idea. I think it will be a great promotion for a fight. Hear me out. So he struck out 3 times, but 3 tough outings, right? Valdez, Shakur, Navarrete, and then you have Hoet, who he had 3 tough outings as well, right? He had Shakur, he had Venado Lopez and Navarrete, right? So both of them have one of those, like most people feel they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine this, imagine Joey Gonzalez versus Robson Consecao for a vacant belt, right? Both of them
Someone
on their
needs to hire you, man.
fourth opportunity, right? Who's going to win the belt? Hopefully it's not a draw, but either way, hopefully you guys want to be down for that or what?
I'm down.
I'd be fine. You spoke negative energy though. A draw.
Well, I'm just saying
that would be so.
Man,
that would be terrible luck. Good Lord.
That would be like, God damn, we both failed 4 straight times. What's going on? But still, there would be like the Buffalo Bills of boxing. It is what it is, you know what I mean? But shout out to TBH. How you doing, brother? Al the Pal and all you guys. Shout out to you. Look, badass for sure. And I enjoyed it. Great fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think either of their stocks, both their stocks went up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
At worst, I would say Navarrete's stayed even, right? It stayed even. I would like as a fan, I wasn't disappointed at all. Maybe I'll say, after this year, this trouble he had with Liam Wilson, maybe the trouble he had with Consecao, maybe the ceiling's a little bit lower than I expected. I don't know. I'm not even certain on saying that, but regardless, I'm happy. I always leave Navarrete fights happy.
Yeah. Well, if Navarrete did what I did, and his corner did what I did, where we looked at Consecao, was like, okay, 11, that's it. They should have thrown in the towel. So we just gonna coast 12, maybe. Or we just gonna, maybe he had an injury too, maybe he was tired, whatever. So we have it in the bag. We're good. That was a mistake.
Jesus Sam wants to see Navarrete Foster. Look, I think that's a great fight.
Yeah.
Especially after Foster's last fight with Rocky, I think.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Foster.
Man, that's a hell of a fight. I'm just gonna put that out there. But it's a unification. They're both the top rank now, so why not? You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, I'm all for that for sure. I'm all over that fight. Let's go ahead and do the ugly. So I don't know if you two were aware. I didn't want to tell anybody. I was having a hard time sleeping. I was going through insomnia. I don't want to share. I don't want my friends to worry. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say anything. But then, so I really want to thank Shakur and De Los Santos because they cured my insomnia. Look, I slept like a baby that night. They knocked me out. So I think it's a good thing with it for me. You know what I mean?
You're grateful. You're grateful for that good night.
Yeah, imagine all the people suffering from insomnia that they cured, and y'all over here trying to shut them the fight.
And you have the remedy. You can send it to them.
That's right. But that fight was dog shit. I swear to God. That fight was like the dogs that eat the leftovers and then they go take a big dump, and it's like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like it looks like soft serve ice cream but brown. that dog shit. That's what this fight was. Calix. I don't even know where to start, so just say something about the fight. I mean,
this was rough to watch. And had I not had money on the fight, I wouldn't have stayed up to watch it. And I was trying to keep my son up to watch the fight, and he tapped out because, I mean, after like the 27th Mark Kriegel bit, I'm like, good Lord.
Oh, gosh.
And this was the tough part about Thursday is
I like neck like hanging like in the sofa, like
that. That move, you start snoring. But the thing about it is, I like the Thursday experiment. I like fights on Thursday night, but a Thursday night fight, you can't put that late like that. I feel like they really dropped the ball with this event.
Agreed.
And the pacing of the cards are bad, and then you wait all that time, you get there, and then you see what you saw with that main event. It was, man, it was so tough to watch, and everybody just dropped the ball. And Shakur in particular, I understand. Look, he obviously has some sort of ailments going on, right? And I hear rumors it could be a shoulder, whatever it is. But you step in the ring, there aren't any
Absolutely.
excuses, and you can't do this thing where I don't have any excuses, because
Thank
but
you.
is the excuse. You can't do this stuff. So you got to entertain, and he actually got a better result than Navarette, but his stock goes down. And it just goes to show you it's about more than winning and losing. It's about touching souls. It's about building an organic fan base with a crowd out there. And Shakur has been doing, let's be honest, he's been fighting twice per year. His fights aren't that entertaining. Something's got to give. You got to fight either more, 3 times per year, or you've got to be more entertaining. And he was not that the other night. Good Lord, this was terrible. This was one of the worst main events I've ever seen. And I left this and I just said to myself, do I really want to watch this dude again? That's how bad this was. And it's a shame to say, because he's such a talented fighter. We all see that. We've all seen it for a while now. He's such a talent. But I'm starting to think, and Christine, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing with him. He gets so negative when it comes to punchers. And to me, the red flag here is Nakathila. This was Nakathila fight all over again. I watched the Nakathila fight. I was like, good God, Shakur, please sit on some punches. And Nakathila and De Los Santos, they don't set up their power that well, to be honest. And they're one-handed fighters. So you want to see Shakur sort of take advantage of that, and then he doesn't throw his power hand at all. And maybe, like I said, the shoulder injury, but it just felt like he could have done more to engage. And De Los Santos just couldn't do it. Unfortunately, I don't think he was talented enough.
Right.
But Shakur just fought so negative. This was bad.
Yeah.
Christine, what you think?
No, I agree. I think we're starting to see a pattern, with heavy hitters. Another thing that frustrated me with De Los Santos was, so when he threw his jab or his double jab, Shakur was stepping back. Okay, so throw triple and quadruple jab and get him on the ropes and cut him off, but he didn't know how to cut the ring off. He doesn't know how to throw more than 2 jabs at a time. I mean, if somebody's stepping and when you step, then you continue on, because they've already timed you that you're only going to throw 2 jabs. Like, start mixing things up. Like, I was screaming at the TV, not that I wanted, him to beat Shakur, because Shakur is very talented. But I just saw some things and I'm like, bro, like what are you doing? But it was a very disappointing fight. It was. And Shakur is talented. As Khalek said, we've seen him do amazing things. He is very talented, but I think he might get a little gun shy with heavy hitters. And I think that he did actually feel the power, in the beginning, when he got touched, I think he's like, oh shit, he's got some power. And as far as excuses, I've talked about this before too. It's like, once you step in the ring, it doesn't matter. It does not fucking matter, because if your guy beats you, oh, I was injured. If you didn't perform well, oh, I was injured. There's always those excuses, and it takes away from your opponent. It takes away from you. If you're injured and there's something that is hindering you from fighting, then don't get in the ring. Get your doctor to write a note and postpone the fight, because I would rather that than see what we saw as the main event. And like Khalek said too, I was like, yeah, Thursday nights, I can watch boxing on Thursday too. But the prolonging, we'd already seen, all the videos, all the build up, and we're seeing them again and again. It's like, consider the people that have to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
Come on.
I put him to sleep early, so.
Yeah, I think you did. And I'm like, I have one eye open, like, okay, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. Something's gonna happen.
It never did.
You know what? It
Never.
was like I remember like I didn't think anything of it in the first round, right? I was like, it's it's a fill out round, whatever.
Yeah.
Even in the first 3 rounds, I was like, yeah, it's gonna heat up, and then
Yeah.
it never happened. Like I just
Never
like
happened.
Never.
it was just like that vehicle. It
Water
doesn't
never
start.
started boiling. Yeah.
And the alibis have to like the injury talk. We talked about that, but the other thing is blaming it on De Los Santos. Look, if
Yeah.
you're gonna, if he's gonna talk, if Shakur is gonna talk the way he's been
Gonna
talking,
fuck you up.
and
Like,
then
okay.
on top of that, yeah, like I said, he wasn't acting like he had a shoulder injury the day before when he's talking trash, say he's gonna knock him out. But on
Right.
top of that, when you speak that way about yourself and the rest of the division, and then on top of that, look, people are comparing this guy to Pernell Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather. Those guys in their early days would have opened De Los Santos up with no
Absolutely.
problem. With no
Absolutely.
problem. And I feel like we're comparing these young guys that are coming up, that are in
Too
the
soon.
at the championship level now, to those guys. And there's a disconnect now. I don't know if y'all have noticed this. We're still generating great talent in America. You see it. You see it
Yeah.
top ranks young roster, right? And we saw it on display again Thursday night.
Yeah.
We saw Abdullah Mason. We saw Emiliano Vargas. The talent is coming up.
For sure.
But there's some sort of disconnect when these guys go from prospect to contender, and then something starts to disconnect because we're not developing the champions that we developed in the past.
Right.
Because we should be seeing these guys with Shakur's talent, with Tank's talent, start to take over and do special things. But I feel like that's what we're missing. I feel like we're missing the special fighters who are doing special things.
I agree.
That's what I feel like we're missing.
I agree. And also the lack of humility.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that are going to buy pay-per-views. We're the ones that are going to buy tickets to your fights. We're the ones that are going to stay up till 11 o'clock to watch you, so the ratings are good or whatnot. The lack of humility, I didn't like that either. And I mean, I try to make excuses. Okay, he's young, he's still immature, but he's not as young as, he was, and then, I had friends there that were at the fights and they were texting me videos. They were sending me videos of like people leaving and we heard the chanting in the audience. I was like, what are they saying? Like, what the fuck are they saying? Like, they were like, culero, 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 they were frustrated, and people in droves were leaving the stadium. And if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does.
Floyd Mayweather left early, from what I understand.
Well, somebody said, "Wake up, Bob," and then the camera like passed him, and he was asleep. Like literally, he was asleep at the ring during the fight.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. When we hear him, one of the first things he said was, "If you don't like it, don't watch." No, man, like that's not the reaction to
not
that.
it.
You should have thick skin and
Well,
say,
be
"Look,
careful,
man, like
be
my
careful
bad
what
on that
you-
one."
Yes.
Yeah, like
people might just say, "Okay, I won't."
I don't want to hear that as a consumer. If you don't like it, don't watch.
No.
Why would anybody want to watch? Like, the people pretending like that's some sort of sweet science. Come on, that's not.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's
wants
not.
to watch that.
And here's the thing: Timothy Bradley running interference the whole fight.
Yeah.
I just don't get.
Oh
First
my
of all,
God.
first of all, Bradley needs to stop trying to tell us when the fight's about to end. He said like 4 or 5 times in the Navarette fight, like the end didn't come. Like, stop, Bradley. Like, let's just when the end happens, then it happens. But in this fight, early on, he keeps saying, "Oh, well, De Los Santos does De Los Santos have the discipline to not try to get careless and try to make something happen and wait for Shakur to come to him, right?" And then later in the fight, when he's losing, he goes, "Oh, well, I think he needs to make something happen. I think he's being too patient." Like you can't. You're defending Shakur too much. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing, "Oh, well, De Los Santos should have cut off the ring." He did, but he would get held when he did. And then the ref would break it up immediately. They had to start.
The ref was definitely.
Remember when Inoue fought Butler, and Butler just was not getting engaged. Inoue figures it out because that's where you start to figure out that separation, right? Canelo has fought with with injuries, hand injury. Inoue has fought with hand injuries. They still open their opponent up and find a way to stop them. They think their way through it and set up their power. But that's what I'm saying is that's where you start to see the gap between special to great to good, and
Broken
then we
jaw,
start
all
to
this.
yes, yes, exactly. Bam fought with a broken jaw, I believe.
Exactly.
So this what I'm saying is we start to figure out, okay, Disa, I think you've coined this phrase, pre-anointment syndrome or something like that. Is these are red flags, right? Is okay, yes, he looks super talented, but fights negative against power fighters. Doesn't really throw the power hand, and so what happens if he gets in there with a William Zepeda or a Muratalia, right? And he's in there with a pressure fighter who can also punch. How does he deal with that? Is we're starting to see these things, and we're deviating, but that's where we start to see the separation, right? That's why Canelo's where he is. That's why Inoue is where he is. That's why Bud is where he is, right? Is those guys show that separation, and no matter what they go through, they're going to figure it out.
Absolutely.
I actually, like earlier, I had the fight very close, by the way. It's not the
De Los Santos. I mean, he was doing his thing the first few rounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, Christine, like
first 3 rounds.
I like the fact that he wasn't trying to go after Shakur, and he was like, "Yo, I'll meet you right here in the middle."
Yeah, I mean, I knew, I could tell that was the game plan. Like, don't chase him around. He's going to be on his bike. Stay in the middle. I could see that, but you do have to mix it up, because then Shakur started timing him and figuring out his patterns, because it was very obvious. He was only going to throw double jabs when he was throwing, and he wasn't going to go any further than that. So he started to show the plan. So that's when you have to have more tools in the toolbox and be able to switch shit up.
Yeah, but I guess what like, here's my issue. All right. It's just a gripe of mine with the sport. Okay. I don't like, it's not the job of a fighter to make his opponent fight. Like, so like to me, well, let me explain.
Yeah.
Shakur was so negative in some of those. I scored at 7-5, by the way. Like, if this was a 12, if you're going to be that negative, you better be pitching a shutout. Like, it better be 11-1, 12-0.
For sure.
Like, this was a close fight that if De Los Santos just threw a little bit more, he might have won that fight, right? He just had to throw a little bit more. What I'm saying is, a lot of those rounds that I didn't give Shakur, that a lot of people didn't give Shakur was literally like running away from him. Like, I don't mean like he was boxing on his back foot. No, he was literally like getting away and running to the other side of the ring. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? It's not once or twice. This is getting ridiculous. And then when De Los Santos got to him, right, Shakur would hold, and the ref will come in and run interference from him. He would immediately break him up and start him up. Like, start him all over. Like, it took De Los Santos a whole minute to like get inside, and you're gonna start it all. We only got 3 minutes around, ref.
Right. Yeah.
That's my issue. Like, Shakur did not. This was not boxing excellence. This was not a boxing clinic that he put on. Like, it just wasn't.
No,
in my opinion, but
it wasn't.
No way.
And what I'm talking about is what I disagree with, because you know what I tell my guys and girls, you're the fucking puppet master. You get this person in front of you to do what you want them to do. You use your feints, you use your levels, you use your feet. You control this shit. This is your house. This is your stage. You're the fucking puppet master. You're gonna get them to do what you want them to do. Mm-hmm. That is what I tell my guys and girls.
Yeah, but Shakur wasn't doing that.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to be able to control or at least trick them or get them to throw something or do something. If De Los Santos would have changed shit up, that double jab shit and staying right there, if he would have changed shit up and made Shakur think he was going to do this, but he did something else, then he would have been able to touch him and catch him. You got to be tricky. You have to have more tools in the toolbox than your opponent. You know, so that's our job. That's the job of whoever wants to win.
The people who like D-Style who scored this fight in its entirety, y'all are better than me because I gave up.
I gave up.
There's just no way I'm.
I gave
already
up
watching
the
that,
first 3 rounds of De Los Santos, and then I was done.
I know, but I just couldn't do it.
No, and then I
I
have
was like,
people are like,
I was
"Oh,
like
dude,
scrolling through my.
Go back and watch it again. You scored. I'm not gonna go back and watch it again.
There's no
I'm like,
way.
I'm good.
Watching
I
in
wanna
slow
throw
motion,
my
D-Style.
TV out the window. I did not want to hear the commentators.
And then I'm hearing
I was
people say, "Oh,
jealous.
they got to do it again." It was like, do it again.
No, don't do it again. I was jealous of the people there because they could not hear the commentating.
But
Like,
the
They would have
thing
to
with
pay
De Los
me to
Santos,
watch it.
the
again.
thing with the thing with De Los Santos is he didn't I don't know if y'all caught this, like when the final bell rang in between rounds, each round, he would almost go to his corner and like not impressed at all.
Yeah.
He wasn't impressed at
He
all
wasn't.
with what he wasn't in awe at all, but I don't think he knew. Maybe he's young, 24 years old, or maybe he just doesn't have the capability to execute it, but he just didn't know what to do to take advantage of that. But
Right.
I saw the look on his face. He's like, this is it. Like this isn't what I was told that this was.
Right.
But I don't think he is capable of executing a game plan to take
That's
advantage of that.
Yeah.
So what I want to
was
see,
his corner saying, you know, it's like,
yeah, this is what I want to see going forward is I want to see, and we've been talking about this for a
Saying he
while,
was bored, like in his own fight.
maybe, but I don't think he was in awe at all, but I don't think he
wasn't.
knew what to do to take advantage of that. I don't think he
Right.
was capable of it. So what I want to see is William Zepeda fight and Shakur Stevenson fight, because I want to see what Shakur does with that style. A guy who is going to be on top of, he's going to be in Shakur's chest. And I want to see what Shakur can do against a pressure
Shakur's gonna
power
hold like
puncher.
150 times in that fight, bro.
He might, and that's what I want to see him be forced to
I
do.
like that.
I want to see him either forced to stink it out that much to where people will boo him, or he has to engage. He has to engage. That's what I want to see, and I think Zepeda is the type of guy that will bring that out of him.
So I guess Shakur's contract with Top Rank is up in January. I think is that what
He's
it
got
is?
one more fight. Yeah,
One more fight.
fight.
And then, so I'm very curious. I'm sure that before the fight, you know, we saw Mayweather there. I'm sure we had other people watching and in the audience that we didn't see. And I'm very curious to see who's going to want to pick him up, or I mean, he'll get picked up for sure. But I'm very curious to see who is going to pick him up and what they're going to do with him, how they're going to match him. I'm very curious about that.
Christine, in the in Olympic style boxing, do they penalize for too much holding? Have you seen it?
I mean, you get called on it, and then you know, after 2 or 3 warnings, they will take a point. I mean, they'll say no hold. I mean, they'll give you some, 1 or 2 warnings, and then
Because I think I've seen it, and I've always wondered, like,
yeah, they will. But we don't. One thing about the Olympic style is, we try to pretty much stay long and mid range. I mean, yeah, we do close range too if need be, but then we immediately go back to mid or long.
I guess what I'm getting at is in pro boxing,
Yeah.
I just think it's out of hand right now. The holding, it's my opinion. Like,
Yeah,
I think it's out of hand.
and
Too many fights are. Like, it's not appealing to watch constant resetting over and over.
No,
and over.
I absolutely. And it is a tactic, but what is told to a boxer is if you get dazed, hold your opponent until they break you up so you can get your bearings back. But people are overusing it. Like that, I mean, you may get dazed once or twice or once or more, I don't know, but that's when you're told to grab your opponent if you are dazed, just so you can get your bearings back, especially if you still have a minute and a half to go or a minute to go. You know what I mean? So, but people are using it more frequently, and I don't like it either.
Like, you guys saw did you get to watch? Like, speaking of horrible fight, did you watch the Brian Norman Quinton Randall fight?
Oh yeah,
I did watch that fight.
Some really bad instructions in the corner in that fight too. Really bad.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the fight. I get look. Let me just make this clear. I'm not mad at Norman because what he did worked for him and he won the fight. Like if I was in his corner, I'd be saying, "Hey, keep doing it." What I'm saying is he shouldn't have been allowed to do it that much.
Yeah, a lot of holding. A lot
of holding, and then like this tactic of holding, pushing him back against the rope and keeping him there until the ref breaks it up. And I'm just thinking to myself, ref, you could tell him to cut that out and tell him to box.
Yeah, stay in the middle of the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, like do it. It's not appealing to watch. And the thing with holding and boxing, there's nothing offensive really being done with it like in other sports. So like in Muay Thai, you could hold, but you could knee him in the face while you hold.
And I'm a big Randall fan just because of his story and where he's come from and and he's found a way to win. He also has a very unorthodox style. But he looked a little flat that night. I was really surprised.
Yeah, shout out to Remy. Says evening. Shout out to you. Thanks for the support.
Thank you so much.
So ding ding ding. Look, that fight was horrible. I'm sorry, it was ugly.
Oh my god!
And I'm talking from like a viewer, like when at least me, when I watch these fights on television, right? It's not just me. Of course, I'm watching it myself, but I'm also thinking to myself, like, hey, like this is on ESPN on Thursday night.
Yeah.
How many people are giving boxing a shot here, right? They're like, okay, let me sit down, let me watch some of these fights.
Yeah.
That's not appealing to watch. That's not the best of boxing.
The buildup was great. The trash talk was good.
Yeah, like those guys were talking like they're gonna like tear each other's heads off, and I'm gonna kill you in the ring, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then we get that. Like I just wasn't a fan of that fight. And the one thing y'all didn't mention though is that Shakur and De Los Santos are record breakers. Right, they broke records.
They did break records. You're right.
Why don't you bring up the records? Like records are meant to be broken, Christine.
Man,
the least amount of punches landed in a 12-round fight in the history of combat boxing.
And this is a lightweight fight.
And it's a lightweight
fight.
That means that Vladimir Klitschko against Ibragimov landed more punches.
That's sad.
And that fight was horrendous. Okay. Shout out to Nando Llamas. Thanks again for the support.
Nando Llamas. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you.
There we go. I think he wanted Christina. Go ahead, Christine.
He did the ding, ding, ding. The 3 bells.
That's right. Shout out. Thanks for the support. Thanks for supporting Christine. It is what it is. Let's just do some. Oh, speaking of ugly, really quick. And I know more. Like I'm sure the sanctioning bodies are going to tell us what they're going to do, but Alicia Baumgartner today released a statement saying that today I am proud to announce that an independent test of a sample of my hair by a reputable laboratory examined the time period from June through August of 2023 and has not detected mestrolone or any other endogenous steroid in my body. As you read this statement, these results have been provided to the sanctioning bodies. These results conclusively rule out any possibility of intentional doping on my behalf and confirms for all of you that I am what I say I am. What I've stated from the very beginning is true. I never have and never would cheat in a sport I love, and I've been blessed to have the gifts and opportunities to yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? And then she declared that she's innocent. This proves it, and she's going to move on. Okay, she already instructed her promoter manager to set up her next fight, and we're done. All right, that's what she said. What do you think, Christine? Shout out to Remy, by the way. Once again, appreciate the support.
Thank you. Ding, ding, ding.
A negative record.
You know, look, if I commit a crime and I hire my own detective to investigate me, I get my own judge, my own jury, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm still waiting to see what's gonna erupt.
Yeah,
You
but you
know,
should see these dudes, Christine, because they're out here. They're like this. Oh
look,
yeah, she's innocent.
thirst trap. They're, I mean,
Thirsty.
it's very. You know what? She's smart. She's very smart.
Wow.
These pictures we've been getting, these poses we've been getting, and oh my gosh, the masses are like, how could she's innocent? Like, absolutely innocent. But I will say, like, her strategy is working to an extent for sure. Because the masses are saying that she's innocent, but does that really matter? Really, when it comes down
I
to
mean,
it.
I saw Connor Ben get tarred and feathered for a whole year, right? And she hasn't
He should have put
chased.
out some pics. Just saying.
I'm just saying, and from what some people are telling me is that the stuff she was on cannot be contaminated, right? That's what so it is what it is. Calix, she has declared herself innocent. She said she's provided proof, and then she's posing like this. So what do you think?
I believe it. No, this is terrible, and this is why it's frustrating, and I stopped following the whole PED stuff years ago.
I have a feeling she's going to get off, Christine, and
that's what I'm saying. Because what happens, and
yeah,
this was the article that was written a couple months ago as to how these processes play out. Is the fighter always goes on the offense after they pop dirty and come up with their excuses, and then what happens is the bodies that are going up against the fighter, they have to come out of pocket with lawyer fees. So they just settle. They say, I just don't want to deal with this. And this is the whole charade that happens with this, and why I stopped paying attention to it is they're just going to settle. There's going to be some sort of settlement, just like with Connor Ben. There's going to be some sort of settlement, and then they're going to move on. And then what happens is the Alicia Bumgardner fans are going to believe her or just not care. They're just not going to care. That's what it is. They're just not going to care. And it was the same thing with Connor Ben. It's the same thing with Eric Morales. It's the same thing with any number of fighters. The fans, the fans are going to care. And then the haters of that fighter are going to care, right? And they're going to go after that fighter, but nothing's going to be solved here.
No.
There's going to be some sort of settlement. And that's what it is. And there will be a settlement, and then they'll move on. And that's what we have here, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we don't ever know, like, obviously, not obviously, but there's things that go on that people don't know about, and I have a feeling that those things are going to start to erupt.
I got a feeling.
And she knows, and people involved know.
So she's going on the offense. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's some things that will be erupting. So
I heard some things, but I cannot say. I will say that. But here's the thing. Plus, it may not be true anyway. So we got to wait and see what the
That's why I'm gonna have my popcorn and my wine.
Yeah, we're gonna get a popcorn ready. You know what I mean? The drama's gonna be there for sure.
Yeah.
I just. What are we doing here? It's like, so only the fighters that can't afford to get their own testing done and hair follicle tests and whatever, those are the only ones that get punished because they don't have a team that could go, I guess prove their innocence and keep taking the shit and to try for lawsuits, whatever,
or
right?
Having people with money to back them. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Don't worry.
And if the hair follicle is the whole enchilada, then what are we doing? Blood tests and urine tests? What are we doing? Just take a lock of everybody's hair, before the fight, and just test that.
Right.
Like if that's the mean thing, if that proves everything, then why are we pissing in cups for? Well, why are we taking out? But why are we sticking needles in people's arms? And if the hair follicle is everything, right?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Now, is it hair in the head? Like, what does it matter? Does it have to be in the head? Can it be pubic hair? What are we doing here?
We might find a lot from the pubic hair. Just saying.
I don't know about that, but we're not going to go there. You know what I mean? But shout out to Remy, MAW, Aldub says hi to Christine, and only Christine, but it's all right. Shout out to
my guy. That's my
Chiamas
guy right there.
and Al the Pal. How's it going? So look, final thoughts, Calix. Give us final thoughts.
I'm looking excited. I'm excited for. I'm starting to get excited for Saturday just to see how Benavidez deals with Andrade. What type of fight Andrade fights against Benavidez? My fear is he tries to stink it out. I hope that's not the case. I hope we get a fight where both fighters' stocks rise. I think people, when you shoot things straight, and when you say things like what happened with Shakur the other night, people accuse you of hating, but it's not that. And that's why I have to preface what I say on Twitter with, this isn't hating. I want them all to be stars. This is coming from a good place. It's coming from a place of a boxing fan who, if we get more stars, then we all win, right?
Right.
The content we put out gets more hits, and the fighters make more money. It's good for everybody involved. It's just good for the sport altogether. So I hope on Saturday we get either a great fight or a great performance from Benavidez, and he calls out Canelo, and we're off and running, right?
Yeah.
Or an upset. Any one of those things. But what I hope we do not get is sort of a replay of the Shakur fight in which Boo Boo Andrade does not come there to fight and stinks it out. And then Benavidez is in a position where it's almost impossible for him to look good, and we just get a stinker of a fight. I hope that does not happen here on Saturday night, and I hope we get a really good fight. And to be quite honest with you, D-Style, I don't know how to call that fight on Saturday. I lean Benavidez, but I'm not that strong on it because both of these guys, to me, still, and it's a shame to say, because collectively they're almost 25 years into their careers, collectively, but they're still wild cards, very much wild cards. There's still a lot of unknowns with both fighters.
Yeah. My final thought is this: in terms of, because Aldub mentioned Canelo's hair follicle. Again, this is what happened when you set precedents, right? And if you let Canelo do it, then now every fighter's going to start doing it, right? So I've always questioned the hair follicle thing. What I put more credence was the tracing of the meat, the contaminated meat, okay, that was testing a lot of Mexican players, like in the soccer team, etc., positive for that same drug, right? And they were able to trace the meat where that came from. Now, that doesn't mean that's how he got it, right? It doesn't mean that there was a contaminant. It could mean that Mexican athletes were using that as a drug of choice. It could mean a lot of things, right? I don't think an adequate investigation was done, quite frankly. But what I will say is that Canelo he was suspended, right? He was, like, he did serve some time there. Not very long, but still, like if you remember, Triple G ended up having to fight Matt Erosian, right? Because Canelo tested positive. So what are we going to do about this hair follicle thing if that's what fighters are going to start doing, right? If it works for Alicia Baumgartner especially, they're going to start doing it again, right? And what does that mean? Like, how we need answers as to how credible these hair follicle tests are. Because my logical thinking is, well, if that's like the best testing that covers everything, then let's stop messing with blood. Let's stop messing with urine, and just start doing hair follicle. Why don't they do hair follicle tests in the Olympics? Well, why don't they do it in other sports? Why is blood and urine the choice, and we don't do this hair follicle thing that I know of anyway in any other sport? What the hell's going on? Right? Like, those are very credible questions to ask. And just because, a Canelo fan does not mean I didn't question the Canelo situation. You know what I mean? That was definitely questioned, and I have the receipts to prove it from when all that happened, right? But at the end of the day, Canelo also didn't wait a long time. He didn't wait months later, right? And while this doesn't really mean much, he worked with the WBC, but I mean, Mauricio Suleiman, I don't even know if that makes it sound better or not, but I just want to throw that out there. But it is what it is. If hair follicle, then they just do hair follicle testing. Let's just do that. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. Christine, Final thoughts.
So my final thought is, a lot of people think that I'm a big Alicia Baumgartner hater, and I'm not. Funny thing, she actually looks like one of my daughters, and her name is Alicia. I cheer for her. I cheer for these up and coming women, because we do need more role models for these little girls and boys that say, if they can do it, we can do it too. What I don't like is dishonesty, because I have pros as well, and some of my amateurs are going to be pros one day, and I want to know that when I'm on the other side of the ring, that it's a level playing field, that I don't have to worry about anything other than what's before me. We've been in the ring with someone that we believed that was on something, and there was no testing, and it was a world title fight years ago, and my guy got seriously injured like never before, and dealt with things that he'd never dealt with before, and it was just not human, if I could just say that. So I've experienced that. So I just want to know that everybody's safe and we're on an even playing field. There's some people that can't afford the lawyers and the testing, like we discussed before, and it's not right. Is it ever going to be fixed? I don't know. But I think the more awareness and the more we can educate, the better we're going to be. But I'm definitely not a hater of any boxer, because I know what it takes to get in there, and I've been punched in the face a few times. So I have total respect for everyone that steps in the ring. So yeah.
There we go. Are you ready, Christian? They may start doing it in the Olympics. It's going to take a lock of y'all's hair.
I mean, they get tested very frequently, and especially after any qualifier, they're like immediately, they can't even like change their clothes. They're going straight to the bathroom to piss.
I just think they're wasting y'all time. Just get a little piece of hair. That's all you need.
Yeah, the girls may not like that.
But it is what it is. Shout out to everybody. That is the show. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. We're out of here. Peace.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Bye.